Our first presenter of the evening is the wonderful, thoughtful, and super inspiring. I think handsome is absolutely the right word. Vince Horn from Buddhist Geeks is going to come and share a hack of the mind.
My name's Vincent Horn, and I want to introduce myself. I'm a meditation teacher, practitioner. I've spent the last 10 plus years practicing intensively in the Buddhist tradition mostly, in the Theravada lineage of the Buddhist tradition, which is known as being one of the most boring. Just kidding. And I'm also the chief geek of Buddhist Geeks, which Greg mentioned, which is a Buddhist media project. We're based here in Boulder, but we're virtual. And I wanted to talk a little bit first about Buddhist Geeks. So what is a Buddhist geek? Some of you here, I think, are Buddhist geeks. According to Jane McGonigal, who is a Silicon Valley game designer and who is a Buddhist geek and friend of ours, she said, a Buddhist geek is someone with an interest in technology and Buddhist wisdom who wants to figure out how to use technology to reinvent a thousands-year-old spiritual practice, to make it more accessible, more relevant, and easier to integrate into our lives. So one of the ways I've been thinking about how we integrate this ancient Buddhist wisdom with modern life is I've been thinking about reimagining meditation, this core inner practice of contemplation, as a form of mind hacking. If we think of our mind as a kind of human operating system, it's this sort of evolutionary, pre-programmed way of experiencing ourselves in the world. Then to hack that is to gain unauthorized access to the information that underlies the system, and to actually begin to be able to rewrite the source code of our lives. So we're born with this particular human operating system. And I think it's important to say, first of all, that it works fairly well most days. I mean, I'm able to get out of the bed, brush my teeth, go to work, relate to people. I think you guys, on most days, you're probably able to function fairly well. But I think if we're able to step back and sort of look at our life and be honest with ourselves, there are probably some things we're not so happy with in terms of this operating system. There's some bloatware, some junk code that if we were the designers of our own human operating system, we probably would have designed this stuff out, right? I think we can all acknowledge there's some of that. So let's call this operating system, this human OS, let's call it Windows Me. And one of the most central features, one of the most central architectures of this Windows Me operating system is this persistent sense that of this experience which is arising right now, that somehow it all refers back to this reference point or this center point, which we call me or I. That's the me of Windows Me. You guys remember Clippy. So one of the central points of meditation is actually to deconstruct this I, to dismantle this sense of I. And what we see when we begin to investigate this sense of I, the sense of me, is that it's actually made up of all of these different micro phenomena of body and mind. These phenomena are arising in a web of arising sensation. They're coagulating, they're coming together, and then they disperse and dissolve, moment to moment. And we take these patterns of phenomena, of sensations, of body and mind, we often take them as being real, as being things. That includes the pattern of I, which arises so often. But in fact, they're temporary processes. If you spent any time looking at your own mind, you've noticed These things are temporary. But they appear as mirages. They appear as these things coming together, and they appear real for a moment. But we are not things. We are processes. We're in motion. And once we've deconstructed this unnecessary self-referential processing, always referring back to me, we actually don't stop there. That's the beginning of the spiritual path. After we've deconstructed the sense of I, we have to reconstruct a new sense of who we are. So it's not enough to ditch Windows Me. We actually have to replace it. We have to find something that's more functional, it's more efficient, it's better designed, and it's more in harmony with the way things actually are. We have to replace it with something much better. So, what's left when there is no I? What's left is a full, centerless field of experience that's completely transparent to itself, that has nothing to hide, that is. And with that comes a diminishment of self-referential emotions, like greed, fear, confusion, doubt, and also a diminishment of self-referential thinking, all the sort of thoughts about myself that are always coming up. So with that comes a concomitant increase in concentration, mental concentration, in joy, in a sense of freedom, and in stillness, even stillness in motion. So our baseline actually changes for the better in this process. We have successfully upgraded the operating system of our mind. That is, until the next version comes out. That's it for my talk.